Hello, this is Michael Girard from Swans, and you are listening to The New Scene.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The New Scene. Happy 2026 to everybody. I hope everybody is having a happy new year so far. We are here with another brand new year of The New Scene. I'm excited. Are you excited? Well, you should be, because for our first episode of 2026, we have Jami Morgan of Code Orange and Nowhere2Run. We, of course, know Jami as drummer and vocalist of Code Orange. Code Orange made their mark in the world of heavy music with classic albums like I Am King and the Grammy-nominated Forever. We talked to Jami about the whole history of the band, some of their classic LPs, the making of their last LP, The Above, the band's current hiatus, and how Jami adjusted after the band went on hiatus. Jami is also part of a new art collective called Nowhere2Run. They're making original music, collaborating with other artists, doing film soundtracks, they're doing a touring blood rave. It was really great to talk to Jami and hear about everything he's up to. Really good insight on his band's creative process, on his creative process, and just everything he's been up to, past and present. It's a great conversation, and that is coming up shortly. But first, here's how you can support The New Scene. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a main channel with full video episodes and a clips channel with clips from select episodes. We have shirts for sale at our store at Deathwish Inc. Pick one up. It's a great way to support the show. And you can follow us on social media at New Scene Pod. Also, don't forget to support Iodine Recordings. Don't forget to pick up the latest releases from Shelter. There's a Mantra repress out there. Piebald. If it weren't for Venetian blinds, it would be curtains for us all. There's a repress out there. Quicksand, the Manic Compression repress is out there, the 30th anniversary edition. Head to iodinerecordings.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you can follow the label on Instagram at Iodine Recordings. And a thank you to this month's sponsor, Deathwish Inc. Okay, so check back in with me at the end of the show. We'll do a wrap-up of the conversation with Jami, and I have a new thing to announce, a new scene-related thing that you're going to want to see. I'll tell you all about that. We'll check in. We'll discuss everything. But right now, we are going to speak to Jami Morgan of Code Orange and Nowhere2Run. Enjoy. All right. We are here now with Jami Morgan. Jami, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Jami, it's great to have you here. You've done so much great stuff. I mean, Code Orange has certainly carved out a legacy in the world of heavy music, and we have Nowhere2Run now, who just released What Did You Do?, the new EP, and you've done a lot of really cool collaborations that I want to talk about, and other things, Jami. There's a lot to talk about, but first, I want to ask you, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Just got back from, we were in St. Louis. We've been doing this event, and it's been like touring like every weekend, so we just got back late last night from that. It's been a lot of touring lately, so it's feeling a little under the weather, but I'm doing okay.
Awesome. Do you live in Pittsburgh still?
Yeah.
And you just got married recently.
Yes, I did.
Nice. Congratulations. How long have you known your wife?
Oh, we've been together over a decade. We've been together like, I think 11 years. I'm so done with this shit. But yeah, we've been together for a long time. So I've known her forever.
Nice. How'd you meet?
We honestly just met through like mutual friends sort of thing. We went to like different high schools, but everybody, at the kind of different public high schools were in the same universe. So after high school and a little bit into when she was in college and I was on the road, it was like the year that the first Code Orange record came out. We just connected and been together ever since.
Nice. Did you go anywhere special? Has that happened yet, or is that still in the works?
Well, so far we definitely are going to do like a for real honeymoon. But we did a really awesome thing where the day after the wedding, actually 9 Inch Nails was playing in Cleveland. So we went to that. And like a buddy of mine who shot like the Code Orange Out for Blood video, and he shot other Code Orange stuff. He's really talented. He's the guy on stage in the Nine Inch Nails tour that's filming everything, kind of like that's on the screen. He's almost like part of the performance. He also works for Turnstile. He worked under Max Moore, who did like a lot of the Code stuff. He kind of came up under him. So he was awesome enough to give us like a little pass where we were able to like be part of this little backstage hang thing that like Josh Freese was at, and a couple. It was just like a couple band members and like people who knew the band or whatever. And I ran into this dude, and I had stayed on his floor at a WrestleMania like 12 years ago. I drove out to a WrestleMania in New York, and me and some of the other guys stayed on his floor. And so, long story short, he reminded me our mutual buddy was doing stuff for Oasis, and they were playing New York the next day. So I was able to figure out going to the Oasis show. So we got to see Nine Inch Nails and Oasis back to back. So it was pretty awesome.
That is mind blowing. Yeah, how great was that Nine Inch Nails show? I was at the Brooklyn date, so I know what you're talking about with the screens and the different video and effects they had up. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen, easily.
Absolutely, and I think it's a pretty cool, like, not known fact that, like, I think obviously it goes without saying, especially in my life, like how insanely influential Nine Inch Nails is to everything I've done and to everything so many people have done. But to make the circle come around, a lot of the stuff some of our bands were doing in terms of like the camera action and stuff in some of these videos, you know, is kind of almost filtered its way back in some ways to their performance, because it's definitely like a stylistic thing I've seen in a lot of those videos that we were all doing. And it just turns out like one of the kids is the one up there running around doing it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It made me feel like we all have an inch part of it, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, it was like one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. It was unbelievable.
And then Oasis the next day, how was that?
Unreal. Insane. Honestly, like unreal. Two of the best shows I've been to, honestly. Like I didn't know what to expect from them. I mean, they're not fucking around. They must have been in that practice room taking this thing really serious. Like it was so good sounding, and it was like a totally different experience. One thing I think is weird about the Nine Inch Nails show is that nobody knew the words. Like I was literally like looking around, and I was like, I'm the only one who knows the words. Like I was like, what's going on with Nine Inch Nails fandom right now? I was doing some analyzation where I was like, I'm talking like, I'm not talking closer, even though 3/4 of the crowd didn't pick up on that it was closer until like 2 minutes in, which was ridiculous. But I'm talking like B-level hits. Nobody knows any of the words. I was like, what is going on? So that was odd. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, all the clips I saw from the Oasis show were amazing too. So that's a great 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Two of my favorites. So super fun.
So how do you like Pittsburgh? I mean, you've lived there for a long time, so you must like it. I must say, it has a very unique vibe. Like, it's one of the most unique cities I've ever been to. I don't think there's another city quite like it. How did you like growing up there?
I love it, dude. I think it's so beautiful to me, like structurally. I love how it's like in between big and small, and like a way where things feel meaningful. They don't feel too far away, you know, but there's also like stuff going on. I like a lot of the people. I think that there's just like a great, I don't know, like there's just so many pros, you know, and I think also it's obviously like influenced a lot of the kind of art that I'm into, and it reminds me of a lot of the art that I'm into. So it's always, I don't know, you know, we were for a while spending, and we still do sometimes, but we're spending like a good amount of time in LA and stuff. And that was fun, I guess. But I don't know, there's something about, we just belong here, I think.
Is it still affordable?
Yeah, I mean, some people will probably say no, but I feel like those people maybe haven't been everywhere else yet. But it's better than anywhere else I've been, I'll tell you that. But it's going up. Everywhere is going up. Everything's going to absolute shit. But, you know, it still has a lot of, if you take pictures of it, it looks like it's the fucking 90s. So it's pretty awesome. You know, I like how things kind of stay the same. I hope that continues.
Yeah, I like places like that seem like they've been untouched by the ugly modern architecture and gentrification and everything. Like I was in Milwaukee recently. A lot
Yeah.
of that looks so old and I was into it.
Yeah, I lived in Milwaukee when I was a kid for like a year or two. Definitely a similar kind of vibe. It's a little. I feel like it's those similar type of city, you know.
How'd you end up in Pittsburgh? Your family moved there?
Yeah, my dad works for the union, the janitors union, so he had to move a couple times when we were young, but then we settled in Pittsburgh when I was in like fourth grade, and that was it.
How about your history with music? Is it something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, pretty much. I started playing in my first band when I was like maybe 11 or maybe I think 11. So yeah, I've always been into it. I don't know, I've always been into kind of like the punky sort of side of things and the alternative side of things and just like kind of clicked as like a life path for me right away. I always feel kind of not bad but like interested in people who don't really have that like don't necessarily have that path, which I think is a lot of people. I always wonder like, and I've felt like that at times where I'm almost lost it because it's such like a cool center point to have for your life's compass on like your decision making.
How about the whole like underground music, hardcore metal, all that stuff? How did you find it? Like how did you discover it? How did you get set on that path?
I mean, it's a little hard to say. I mean, I guess my parents are really young, so like my dad was down with like a lot of different stuff, mostly rap, but also like Black Flag and Minor Threat and stuff like that. So like I had like a Minor Threat shirt when I was freaking 10, and when I was 8 I dressed up as a punk and had like a Dead Kennedys shirt, and so it was always just kind of there. And then I got into kind of a band that was sort of like some kid just walked up to me on the playground and asked if I wanted to play in a band, and it was like Green Day, kind of like the Hives, the Strokes, Anti-Flag's a big one because they're from here. So we were kind of like into that stuff early. And then that kind of, the gateways open from there. And when that band stopped, I started my own. And then you start booking your own shows. And they start off kind of wacky. And then you kind of meet people from the different scenes. And then it progresses. And it's like a series of doorways. So it's pretty early for me for sure. And I was kind of the one getting a lot of the other kids around me into it.
Yeah, were you booking shows that young, like in high school?
Yeah, definitely. I booked my first show, like probably 2007. So I was probably like 14. So like 14 or so. First Code Orange show at an art gallery. Booked the bands who are all adults and did the whole thing. So yeah, booked a bunch of shows and yeah, I've been doing that for a long time.
Nice. Yeah, so Code Orange got started when you were still in high school, right? And the other people?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And how did you meet them? Like did you go to the same high school together or were they just in the scene?
Yeah, we all went to the same high school. That was pretty much it. Just went to the high school and kind of very like movie style went around and pointed at people. And we met Shade, who's my producing partner now on MySpace. He went to our high school as well, but he commented and he said, "You guys like ska?" And we were like, "I guess." And then he joined. We liked Operation Ivy a lot. Did a bunch of Operation Ivy covers. And so then he joined up, and then Joe didn't end up joining the band till way later, but he was kind of just like our roadie and played in other bands. I played in some other bands with him. And then when we left high school, we moved to Philly for God knows what reason. A couple of us tried to go to college. A couple of us didn't. And then Joe moved there literally kind of just to hang. And he went to college. And then I asked him to be in the band pretty quickly. And then, yeah, just kept on going from there.
Yeah, what was going on with you? Like, let's say late high school, moving into college. Were you one of the people that tried to go to college?
Yeah, I went to college for like 3 months.
Yeah. What did you want to do? Like, did you have any kind of plan or idea of what you wanted to do in the future? Or were you just focused on music? Like, what was going on with you?
I wanted to do what we ended up doing pretty much. And that was the plan. And as soon as I saw a little window of opportunity, which was us, we had booked a tour, but we'd also gotten a call from like one of our favorite labels at the time, which was Deathwish, who had seen us open for Converge in Pittsburgh at like this show. And then to us, like that was like getting the call, the $1 million call. So we were like, yeah, fuck it. We just quit, moved back, and started touring, and that was that. We were just waiting on that. We just didn't really know what to do, and until we kind of had like a little more feet under us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think first Deathwish Inc. record 2012. So there was probably a good 3-4 years of just booking things yourself and getting out there and playing, right?
Just being in high school, basically, yeah, and like doing some. That was all the high school years, just doing stuff on the weekends, and my mom drove us on a weekend one time. Then we had a buddy here who now runs this big venue and record store here. He's kind of like a big figure in our local scene. He drove us in his little like veggie mobile, and he would round us all up and give us our CDs and be like, "You got to go sell these to people." And we would go up like panhandling style and sell them to people in the crowd. And we learned about making sure we got our money at the end of the night, and learned all the hard shit. And yeah.
Yeah. How about being the drummer in a hardcore band, but who's also the vocalist? That's sort of rare. You know, you don't see it too often.
Yeah, honestly, we just didn't even really think anything was too rare because there wasn't anything too common, like in the sense of, you know, something that really helped us early and that became harder later for sure. And it's still hard was just like in our town, there was really around us we didn't know anybody who was like successful, quote unquote, in any like meaningful musical way. So there was really no bar. So everything we did, we felt like we were like, it was the greatest thing in the world. And all of our friends did too. And it just kind of propelled us every step. And so when it came to drumming and singing, it was like, oh, well, I'm writing the lyrics. This is kind of all of our thing, but it's kind of my thing in a lot of ways. So it's like, might as well just sing. And that was really it. Never really thought about it until later.
Yeah. Was there ever any discussion about it? Like, should we find someone else or should we find a new drummer or anything like that?
Yeah, we had a kid sing at one point for like a couple weeks or a month or two. He's cool. I still see him a lot. And that didn't work out. And we ran through a couple different weird things, but we just ended up kind of like they sang a little bit too, and I sang, and that was it.
Yeah. How about when you drum and sing? Like, are you limited in the amount that you can sing? Like, is there only certain things you can do? Like, I know playing guitar and singing, like based on whatever the rhythm is, that there's like a certain amount of things I can do. Is it like that for drumming and singing too?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a thing. Yeah, and I was never I was never really a good musician anyway, so it was really just all about like engineering the feeling, you know? And that's kind of like why I gravitated towards punk and stuff, is because you didn't have to be very good, but I was very rhythmic though, and I still am very, very intrinsically rhythmic on a real extreme degree, but like my chops are pretty bad. So, yeah, that's why that was the leading factor later on in switching it up, which was like the type of record we were writing. It just didn't make sense, and it was too hard to connect.
Yeah. Are you self-taught with everything you play?
No, I wouldn't say so. At first, but we went to we went to a high school that was like a public high school, but it was like an arts high school. So you had like a major, and at the end of the day, every day you get to play music. And it was the greatest thing in the world. I think it's one of the coolest places ever. It's called Kappa, and it's in Pittsburgh, and it's the reason I ever did any of this. So definitely not self-taught. Self-taught in this game, but not on drums.
Yeah, I took like lessons for a few months, but then I just learned enough and ran off on my own. But yeah, I've heard of that. They have a music summer camp where they teach you to be in a band, apparently. Art high schools where they teach you music. That's great stuff.
This wasn't like rock shit. It was more like, you know, it was just school. There's no summer thing, but it was more like orchestra, jazz band type shit.
So once you signed to Deathwish, do you start just getting out there and touring all over the country for the first time?
Pretty much, yep. Just and elsewhere. We did a tour with this band Xerxes, and actually the twin brother of the kid in Xerxes. Actually, the kid from Xerxes became like a famous like fitness influencer, which is crazy. But his twin brother is Max Moore, and so his first music video he shot was us, and then along with his brother's band. And so like all the connections started there. Then he did a video of us, and that helped. And we went from tour to tour, and then we met like Full of Hell, and we did a split with them. We went overseas with them and went in a van together. And yeah, it just started going from there.
How old are you when that happens? Let's say 2012, 2013, around then.
In 2013, I was 20. Yeah, so I would have been like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
I guess that's the perfect age to be doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I would say so. I would say so.
How did you get by? Did you have to work at all? Like, did you make enough from the band that you could just get by? What was going on?
Well, I lived with my parents for a while, and that certainly helped. And then we all lived together. And by the time we were all living together and we were living pretty cheap, we would work a lot at some of the guys had more real jobs. Like Joe was working construction at one point. I worked a lot with Dom and Joe doing loading gigs like at the local music venues basically. So we would kind of be like loaders for shows. And that was really the only uh job I was doing. Then we were touring a lot and splitting off cash. And like 2014, we were making more cash on I Am King because there was nobody else involved. There was no like managers. There was no, we weren't paying taxes or anything, than we were for a while after that. So yeah, we made it happen. We lived together for a long time, and I lived with my parents for a while, and so yeah, that's kind of how it all stacked up.
How did your parents feel about it? Were they supportive?
Yeah, they were awesome. They always have been really into it. I mean, they've definitely kind of been like just always champions of what we do. They love what we do, and also just taught me a lot about drive and hard work. My mom had a ton of different jobs always growing up and did everything from working at the candy store locally here. That's a great candy store, actually. I live by there still. And she worked for UPS at one point, and she went to nursing school at one point. So she's always doing different things and making it happen. And then on the other end, my dad kind of really worked his way up from the ground at the union. And so it's like those kind of two things combined where I've seen it's kind of like the mentality I have, which is like keep shape shifting, but also like find your passion and build it up.
Yeah. That's yeah, my mom was the same way. She's had like 4 different careers, and I'm like your dad. I just took a random job off the internet and have managed to build it up to something that pays, which is good. But like you, yeah, you just have to go out there and make it happen. I'm with you on that.
And we've truly never made like money off of music, to this day. Honestly, I still hope that one of these years we're clearing, what I would call like normal person good money, I guess, but we were living in a cheap city and all living together, and it was cool. There's been ups and downs for sure. But the end of Code was harder, especially with the money. It was just like we never even saw it. It felt like, so it's just like so many different pipelines it was going through, and we were in some bad situations business wise, and so it was nice to be free of that element for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. The longer it's going on and the more people are involved, the more complicated it gets, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What kind of bands are you into at the time? What are some of your influences? Like, because when Code Orange was really getting started, I guess around 2012, that type of metalcore sound, I feel like wasn't as huge in society like it is now. I mean,
it wasn't at all. It wasn't.
yeah, like
all.
we were coming off of like the mid 2000s melodic hardcore and tough guy hardcore thing. I don't even remember what was happening in like 2010, 11, 12. I know I was still listening to Converge and stuff like that. But bands like that were the exception. Like, and Code Orange first got on my radar because you covered 7 Stitches by Disembodied.
Yeah, that was later on a little bit. Yeah, that was probably like 2016 or something. We did that at a show. But yeah, no, I like Disembodied. I found a CD I made actually for the metal, what I called, it was like metalcore part of the record, and it was like I Am King. It was like year before, and it had like Converge, Disembodied, but it also had like the Judas Factor and like Harkonnen and all these like weird fucking bands on it that we just got into because that was a really big thing here. Like that brand of metalcore, I would call of the non-Warped Tour variety, was like kind of like still a thing here for sure. Also, as you kind of say, like there was kind of the tough guy beatdown element, and we like our vision was to not shy away from that because we liked a lot of that too, but we also really liked the converges and the even artsier, so our kind of idea was like, okay, let's be these kind of weird skinny artsy kids, but let's kind of work in this harder, this almost like beatdownish element, but have it kind of like filtered through this weird lens. Like I remember I made a post on Instagram with all these different records, and I was like, it was like very cringe, but it was like it was just like Code Orange LP2 or whatever, and it had like Loveless on it and like Dirt, but it also had like the things we were just talking about and like Beat Down and stuff. So God only knows, but it was all those things in a blender. I can point to all those things and see pieces of them, but the idea was like, okay, what if somebody was kind of weird and arty, but instead of pointing the finger at the hard shit, kind of did the hard shit because we liked it and we thought it was cool, and we kind of thought it was lame to be artsy and against it. It's hard to explain, but it was kind of like our mentality at the time was to blend it all up, and that remained our mentality. Like each record was just like new elements to kind of add to the blender and add and add and add, and that was kind of the only thing that was really felt satisfying.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense now that you explain it like that, because it's usually one or the other. You're either a tough guy band with really hard breakdowns, or you're like a more artistic band like Converge, and sometimes there's breakdowns. Like why not be both?
And Converge has some sick ass breakdowns early on, especially, and just throughout. I mean, they're a super hard band. But I remember we were recording with Kurt Ballou, and we would throw out bands we would like, and he would laugh and just be like, "That's the worst shit in the world," and we would just be like. Fair. And now when the kids talk to me about bands they like, these deathcore bands, like to me it's the worst shit in the world. So I get it. We're all from different corners, and he lived in that era, so some of that stuff was stupid to him, just like I live in this era and some of this stuff is fucking stupid to me. And I talk to these new kids and they're like, "You don't like X?" And I'm like, "No." But like I'm like, "What?" But that's how it goes, man. But yeah, so I think we were bringing something new to the table. Obviously, it wasn't the parts weren't new at all, but it was like I think the way it was presented and put together was definitely new, 100%. Still is.
Oh yeah, like it was that was a name I heard so much at that time, and there wasn't really anything else like it. And I think I saw you at This Is Hardcore 2017 maybe. It was just like a different kind of band, because at This Is Hardcore it's a lot of like tough guy New York hardcore style stuff, but Code Orange was just different. It had that element, but it was like more metallic, like the disembodied that I liked. There was different elements in it. It had a lot going on.
And I found that I loved the art, we'll call it the arty music, but all the arty people I hated. And as soon as we did a fucking, as soon as we leaned a little more into the other side, it was what we did a lot. I mean, in that This Is Hardcore, the one that we headlined, I don't know what year it was, but we had this whole sample at the beginning, and it was from this documentary about rats and how you trap them. And that was kind of our trap. It was like we dangle out a little thing and see how certain people would react, and then we'd see them do the turn on us, and then we knew to write them off. That was kind of like the way that we were playing it. But I just found I liked a lot of the tough guy people better than the art people. So, but I liked art probably more. So it's just a weird, I still feel that way.
That's another great point. Okay. I like high art concepts. I like to try to incorporate them into my own stuff that I do. But I find a lot of high art people, I'm doing air quotes, everybody, right now, super pretentious, bad attitudes, think that they're really important when they're not, right? And then a lot of like normal hardcore people that I will talk to are just nicest, genuine people, will help you out, won't have an attitude with you. And, not everybody fits into a bucket, but I definitely see what you're saying. Yeah.
A lot of weirdos, a lot of pervs, a lot of odd stuff going on, a lot of fear,
Yeah.
masking fear.
Exactly.
But, at least in heavy music and stuff. I mean, it's different in different realms for sure. But yeah, I never really fit into that.
Code Orange, 2 Grammy nominations. That must have felt good, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Did you go? Did you go to the ceremony?
We went the one time. The second time it was during COVID, so there was no ceremony. It was just our luck that year. But yeah, we went the one time. It was fun.
You liked it?
we sat in the back next to the guys who did the Wire theme song, which was sick as fuck because that's a unreal theme.
That would be the best. I love that show.
Yeah, me too. That's probably like my favorite show of all time.
So when you're at the ceremony, okay. See, back to that discussion about art people and people with attitudes. I imagine like I would go to the ceremony and I wouldn't know anyone and no one would know me and it would be awkward and maybe I wouldn't talk to that many people. How was it? How was it for you?
We never let it be awkward. We just rolled in hard, dressed crazy, just wanted to make a fucking name for ourselves. I said a lot of crazy shit. None of it came out. None of the interviews ever went anywhere, but we tried to make a splash. That was always our thing, was like, let's make a splash. And the unity that we had at the time was like the driving force behind that. Cause it was really just fuck everybody, whatever. It's like, this is our shot and let's just do what we would want to see and be who we want to be. And that was it.
That's the way to do it. Does that lead to anything? Does that lead to like any different collaborations or exposure or other things that didn't exist before?
Not really, honestly. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I'm sure people started saying it from that point on, and I think it led to like 90 other bands getting the chance to do that, and up till this day, you know. I think once again, like with the metalcore thing, if you look at the list, like there really was not a lot of hardcore oriented stuff ever at the Grammys. Hatebreed was once, I think, and outside of that, we were pretty much opening the door. So we opened the door, and everybody ran through it, and that's how it kind of rolled. Yeah. That is
like I remember Code Orange being like the band for like this new kind of mainstream crossover in the 2010s coming into 2020. I remember those Grammy nominations. I remember when Underneath came out, and you're right. Like there wasn't like now when it's just like, oh yeah, this band's in it, that's band in it. It's like much more commonplace, but it wasn't before. Like I think I looked through the list. I think you would see Gojira in there sometimes, and maybe they won eventually, but it wasn't
they did win
so
eventually.
Common then.
I think we might have been there for them, or maybe they were right before us, but we were touring together at the same time. They were still hungry fighting for it. I remember walking around with him one time at this show with Joe from Gojira early on, and like I guess they thought it was kind of a lighthouse, like not a lot of people. I thought it was awesome. It was way bigger than any of the shows we were doing, but he was just like, fuck, like is this going to work? Like, how's this, you know, like they were really still not over the hill yet, even at that point of like this being like something they could do as a career. So that's pretty cool to look back on. And I was like, dude, it's fucking awesome. I mean, who gives a fuck if it's, you know, like I know the feeling though. It hurts whenever you feel like you're not, you know, I've always felt that way. Never selling enough tickets, never selling enough records. And sometimes it's true, but you know, they crushed it, but they also don't come from hardcore, so I'm not even really counting like that shit. They don't come from our world per se, but they're still pretty kick ass.
The Above, your last record that was released before the hiatus. When did you start working on that?
Probably 2020. I mean, during COVID, like towards the end of COVID, I think, probably. Like, and then we went back on the road for a little bit, and then came back and worked on it some more, basically.
And that was a bit of a departure from the more straight metallic stuff that would be on the previous records. Although, I mean, there's always been a variety of sounds, but
I think if you listen to the records in a row, it's really like, you know, I think if you listen to a song on it, I definitely could see that big time, like especially the singles. So I could see you going like, whoa, it's a huge departure. But if you listen to the records in a row, it's kind of like it steps you into it pretty good. And there's some pretty fucking hard shit on there. I mean, the end of the first song, the second song, you know, there's a ton of songs that have crazy hard shit on it. Straight just like ass beater parts, but there's also a lot of other stuff too. It's definitely the most melodic for sure, but I don't think that many people actually listened to it enough to even like have a solid judgment on it, like it or not like it. I just don't think that many people listen to it. I know they don't because I can see how many people listen to it, you know. So I feel like some of the perception overtook the actual record itself. But regardless, I think it always steps, you know, and there was definitely different ways we could have went. We definitely could have doubled down on like the harder shit. We definitely didn't do that. So that's fair.
Yeah. Coming into the record, did you want to do something different? Like, what was your mindset? What was the band's mindset coming in? Like, was there something you wanted to do differently from before? Did we have a certain goal in mind? Talk about that.
Well, I always wanted to do something different. I always want to do something different. It's the same reason why the second single on I Am King was Dreams and Inertia, and we did a video for that, and that's like a weird shoegazy alt rock song. And on Forever, it was Bleeding in the Blur. And then on Underneath, after Forever, the first single we put out not on the record was called Only One Way, and that was kind of a almost typo-y, weird kind of singy, almost all singing song. And we followed up with some hard shit. Underneath, the first single was Underneath, which is all singing, super melodic. Probably should have did that second and did the hard one first because everybody loved the hard one, and we got a lot of shit for that. That kind of started some of the turnage in a way. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, we wanted to do something different, but we kind of felt like we were still following all the same rules, but doing something different, but following the same rules. And we kind of had a version of the record that leaned one way, and then we pivoted from that and I decided that like alternative music made sense metaphorically for what I was trying to get across thematically.
And Code Orange is a band, like, you've always done things differently, and you've always incorporated a lot of interesting sounds that weren't happening then, certainly, and that you don't necessarily see all the time now. So is it disappointing when you feel like, oh man, like we did our thing, and maybe not as many people are reacting to it as well? Do you think about that, or are you just like, hey, we did what we did and that's it?
No, I felt disappointed at the time for sure, but at the same time, like I think all things shake out as they need to. Like right now, I looked at for the first time in a long time at our Spotify. Our top 10 songs are 2 songs from every record. And, Take Shape, the single from The Above, is like the second or third song on there in terms of how many people have listened to it. And then the wrestling song Shatter and Out for Blood. So literally the 10 songs in my head that were the most important are the 10 songs that are our top 10 most listened to songs. So like, you can't really paint it better than that. So I'm pleased in a lot of ways. I mean, it definitely wasn't consumed the way exactly that I wanted by everyone, but there was also like reviews and reactions and things and kids who understood it so like it was coming out of my head. It was insane. So like that was awesome, like and beautiful. And yeah, like I think with that record, the direction of it was kind of dictated by 2 things. It was like one, what certain people were bringing to the table, ideas wise, and trying to blend those things. But 2, like I kind of got obsessed with this thematic. There's almost kind of like a metaphoric aspect to it that dictates the sound in some ways. And to me, I almost visualize it in like movies. So like philosophically, what I was trying to get at, I saw in movies like The Truman Show or like Vanilla Sky. And like, Vanilla Sky is soundtracked by a lot of like breezy alternative music, and it almost represents this idea of like hope and almost like a false reality shield that you build for yourself in kind of like a sci-fi way. And that almost was like a cool flip to me on what I was trying to get at with Underneath, which if you were to compare it to like a movie, I guess for me it was like the obvious one is like The Matrix or something, so and just like the idea of The Above. During The Above, I was reading a lot about, and you can see it on the cover, but about like these parasites that would like worm their way into bugs. And they were bugs that were supposed to stay underground, and because if they came out, they were going to be consumed. But these parasitic worms would hijack their brains and hijack their system to tell them to go out into the light so that they could be consumed by the next thing. And so that kind of like the parasitic life cycle could continue on. And I kind of saw that as like a metaphor for us, where it's like, we want this popularity and we want this, like, we want to grow so bad. But if we go towards that light, I knew we would die and we would be consumed. And we were, and we did. And that's what happened. So to me, I'm fucking rambling. Sorry. This is like dumb shit. But to me, the alternative music was not only like something we all thought would be cool to like mix in to the style blender, but it made so much sense with like where the band was at personal journey wise, and like philosophically, like what I was drawn to, and visually what I was drawn to, and like our journey. And I don't know, like, I guess part of me like was like, well, we have fans that will like kind of understand like what I'm going for. But I think I just think about things like too much, I guess.
No, that's really interesting insight. I know exactly what you're talking about because that's how stuff comes to me. That's how I put it together, and that's what it is. That's what the record is. That's what the band is. It's the everyone's collective experience, the art we're taking in, the art we're creating, what we're putting into it, the story we're presenting, right? And the other thing to keep in mind is with the internet now, everything is like timeless and you just never know. Like maybe something comes out and no one knows about it. And then 20 years later, it's like, this band is back. Oh my God. Everybody wants it. Now we're playing 5,000 cap rooms. Or, band releases a record that's ahead of its time. 10 years goes by. And then all of a sudden, oh, everyone gets it. The new generation is onto it. Like you have to like flatten out time and think about like, anything is possible, really. Like anything can happen.
For sure. And for me, like I just, underneath my shame and underneath my like self-loathing, I do really have a strong sense of belief in myself. And I just know that I have the ability to create things and bring them into real life. And I know that if I just keep doing that, that eventually I'll get where I need to be. And that's why there hasn't really been a day that I haven't stopped doing that and investing in new ideas and thinking and trying to like grow myself as a person and grow my skills and just keep creating. Cause I think I've had ideas that I thought about walking around Target or sitting in an empty room that happened many, many, many times, and I've also thought of really bad things that I've, in a way, through my actions manifested into happening, So I know I can do that. So that is my sense of peace in a way. It's like, I know that as long as I just keep working, that'll happen. Even just like I said, I looked the other day and there's Take Shape sitting right up there. And I knew they would like it, and they still do. It's still one of our most, listened to songs. So at the end of the day, if that's the only accomplishment from that record, cool. But to me, it's a beautiful piece of art, and I'm really proud of it. Super proud of it. And it also, yeah, like there's a lot. It's a band, so there's a lot of different people bringing different ideas. And my job in the band was to like pick and curate those ideas and make them work with my ideas. So I take full responsibility for the kind of whatever the record is to people, and the elements, I'm sure different people in the band kind of wanted it to lean different ways for sure. But yeah, I think the blend was what I thought made sense, and I'm proud of it.
How did the hiatus happen? I know the last show was 2024, the Download Festival didn't go well, technical issues. And what happened? Did those people that ran on stage to like move your shit off, was that like the festival people? Why were they doing that?
Yeah, that was the festival. They were just cutting us off, like cutting our power and shit.
Why? Did you have time left or like?
Well, they decided that because their shit was running late, that our set should be cut down and down and down to like where it was just like a couple songs, and like we just weren't really with that.
Yeah, that's I've seen that happen before, and not a good look, especially for a band who spends all this money to come out and play.
Yeah, we never let stuff like that happen. We always just sort of like, nah, that's not that's not happening.
So when does the hiatus happen? How does it happen after that show? Did everyone just decide it's time to take a break?
It's not really a how, and I'm not really going to like get into all that beyond just saying it was a lot of factors that compiled, and that's what happens. And one of the main factors was that our guitar player Don was dealing with a illness that affected his hands and his feet as well, and made him unable to play guitar at the time when we needed to start touring. And that compiled with some other major factors, it just was like, I made the decision long before that show what was going to happen. And I think we, I think some of us kind of came together and were like, here's how it's going to be. That was really it.
So how soon after that does Nowhere to Run get started?
So Nowhere to Run was kind of always happening. Not always, but you can hear the Nowhere to Run like producer tag on stuff starting in I think like 2018 or so. So we were doing visuals for people under that name, Shade and I. We were doing little producer things. We did a song for like Backwash, and we did a couple other like random little things. And when the band ended, we're kind of just looking at it and we're like, well, maybe we could kind of reclaim this. And, you know, we didn't know exactly what we wanted to build it to then, but I was like, I think this could, well, this will be harder. And we're kind of starting at the bottom in a way, or whatever you want to call it, not the bottom, but starting anew. This could be like a wider spreading, wider reaching thing that allows us to do all these things that we've been trying to cram into one thing. And, at the time we had no interest in performing or like releasing artist music or anything, but yeah, we started that journey. And yeah, like we decided to kind of, the first thing was like, we were like, all right, we want to create like a logo that we really feel like we could live with forever, and that like can be kind of like this entity. And you know, we were thinking about like ancient language, and we were thinking about like the movie Arrival, and we were thinking about like Batman. We were like, we need something like that's really like a symbol of like what we want the feeling to be. And we kind of just started there, and that's how we start all our art projects, and try to go a lot of different ways. And you know, it's kind of now webbed out into these different things all under one entity.
How does the artistic process typically start? I mean, do you and Shade work on electronic beats together? Does he send you something on guitar first? Like, how are some of the ways that it works?
Well, we just went right from the band to just kind of being in his house. We know we didn't have a fucking anything studio or anything, so we're just in his fucking room every day, just like first started making a lot of beats and trying to like pitch beats to people, and then eventually going out and trying to do sessions with people, and you know, making our music along the way of doing that. You know, we were kind of looking at it as more like, oh, maybe we'll kind of be these background producers. And then of course, just like with the band, nobody was really getting like what we were trying to do or sending, and nobody's really fucking with it. So we were like, all right, well, what's the next thing? And it kind of, you know, like, well, maybe if we put some kind of artist music out, it could kind of like give us a foothold and something to point to. And that's kind of where my buddies Loathe came into play. We did a session with them on their record that hasn't come out yet. And at the end of the session, I was just kind of like, hey, would you guys want to like fuck around with something that we did? And they did. And they're the coolest guys ever. I absolutely love those guys. And so they did a feature for us. And that kind of gave us like, it's kind of what we needed. Like, we need somebody to like give us a little bit of a foothold. And like, yeah, those guys are awesome. I can't tell you how many bands and shit that I feel like we were important in helping build that like had no interest in helping us build, and they were the ones who were so, I love those guys forever for kind of stepping up and just doing that for us, doing us the favors, doing the honors for us, and started building it from there. So we kind of put out this first little project, continue to produce, continue to make music with people, started doing this film that we ended up scoring, and then we started doing these blood rave events. We did one here, and that kind of built our confidence up of like, hey, maybe we could make some music and in a more serious way. So
what's the blood rave about? That sounds cool.
So yeah, we started this event in Pittsburgh. It's called Blood Rave. And it was basically just born from, dude I knew at a venue here was like, is there anything you and Shade would want to do, like a night where you guys play? And we were like, well, I don't know. Let me think about it. And I just thought about like, you know, in the most diluted, basic sense, where we would want to play. And I was just thinking about movies and vibes, and so we made it. We did a little thing, a little 150 person thing, and people were into the idea. You know, I made all the artwork and tried to make the branding of it strong and understandable, and people showed up, and we did another one, and it got a lot bigger. And then started thinking, you know, like, I feel like something like this could go elsewhere as well, and be useful if we really bring our real art self to it and really dress it up and really make it sick. And so since then, yeah, we've done, I think like 15 cities or something. We did just this month, we did Louisville, Atlanta, Detroit, New York City, St. Louis. In the summer we did LA, Vegas, doing Chicago coming up, Canada. So we just started going with it. It's been working, and it's been fun to build a little world, and it's a very different sort of thing, but we perform and we do almost like a electronic meets DJ of our own music meets industrial, with me singing and Dom playing guitar and him doing electronics, kind of like full on performance. So it kind of like informed maybe what we wanted to do with our own music a little bit.
How does it feel to be in this new world doing this? Are you happy? Because, you know, with a band like Code Orange Code Orange incorporated a lot of different things and went places that a lot of bands don't go, but still, like, generally within that world, you're always somewhat confined. Nowhere to Run is this completely different thing, completely different world. Like, how is it? Are you happy with it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. I mean, I'm just grateful to be able to try to keep doing music and keep making art and keep putting my ideas out there in a strong way. And just have to be relentless about it. And just because I just feel that we have something to offer, and we have something that needs to come out of us creative wise and different elements. And, just this year, just in the last couple months to be able to like be at a film festival and see a film that we did the music for and helped edit like premiere, and to play these events and have them be fucking awesome. And, to do music for a Universal haunted house for my friend and get to go to that, and like just all these different cool things that like are really cool opportunities, and just like building something new. And I remember building the band in the same way. It was the same but different. It's like you start with sticks and mud and you start to build little houses. I think where the band was like this building, this is more of a town. So we're just building this little town, and we started a record label and we're working with artists. And it's been producing for other people, making our own stuff. It's been really fulfilling, and I just hope to continue to grow it and continue to create. And I don't feel that my creative mountain has been close to reached.
Yeah, that's got to be a great feeling, right? Because I think too much.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I think way too much, and I create problems that don't exist.
Me too.
And sometimes I'm like, oh man, like, what if the band is done and I never do anything again? Or what if I do something else and it's not as fulfilling, and all this crap, like imaginary problems. So, I mean, the fact that you're still creating and it's just happening, and this is what you're doing is got to be a great feeling.
Well, I'm like you, dude. I think of every negative thing, and most negative things I've thought of, people have said right back to me. I've seen those things happen, so, I feel you for sure. And that is, I'm kind of a dual person. That's almost like half of me, and strength is, and perseverance is the other half, so those things battle, and I just try to keep pushing as hard as I can. And thankfully Shade has just been a total, godsend of being there with me when this thing all fell apart. And I was really at my absolute lowest, lost my career, lost other things, I just felt a lot of pain personally, and professionally. And I was 30 years old, and I didn't go to college, and I don't have any money from this thing at all. And there was other really heartbreaking elements to it that were, personal, that were damaging to a lot of us. But to have my friend, and, at the hesitancy of like saying too much, and to have Dom and Joe there as well. Joe is really probably my best friend in the world. He had a child, and to be able to watch that and just watch him totally reorient into being an awesome dad and getting married and just being a great person. He'd always being there for me during this when I would call him and just be like, dude, like XYZ. And because he was there for everything. So, and it's just great to have people that you were in there with that really know everything, and you can kind of commiserate and you can trust, so that's what's really got me through it the most. And my wife, for sure, who was also there for everything, good and bad. And, now it's like me, Shade, and Dom up there fucking rocking again, and it feels great, and it's fucking awesome. And I'm just finally starting to feel good about it and feel like, okay, like we got the engines going. It's small. It's a little engine that could, but that's where I'm most comfortable, is being the little engine that can, because I will 100%. And I have, and I really feel that we have accomplished a lot of cool fucking things. And for people from Pittsburgh or whatever, like broken down some pretty crazy barriers, at least in my little world. So I don't see why we can't keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned some of that, because I was curious about that. I mean, 17 years about in the previous band, and then all of a sudden, nothing. You're used to being on the road all the time. You're used to album cycles. You're used to the crowds you were playing to, all that stuff. And there's got to be a big adjustment period to not doing that anymore because you're not with these people every day anymore. You're not doing this thing anymore. What do you do to get past that? Like, do you have to like pull yourself out of bed? Are you on the phone? Is there like physical fitness stuff, therapy? Like what do you do to deal with that? And how long of an adjustment period is it for you? I'm sure you're still in it to a degree, but like, how is it in the beginning?
All of the above, man. And on the above, I wrote about a lot of it. I mean, a lot of the story of it, what was going on is in the record, so it's kind of like all of that, all of that, 100%. For me, it's keeping on working. It's keeping on a goal. I have to just build, 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 build. And so that was a big part of it. And then it's like the ability to know that, and again, I'm just not really interested in like opening up wounds, but like the ability to know that the decision that I made for my guys was the right one, and that's what they knew was the right thing to do, and that's what they felt should be done. That gave me a lot of peace too, because it felt less like it just felt like peaceful in that regard. It's like, all right, like came in this thing together, go out of this thing together type shit, So I think having them, and then for me, training. I've been doing jujitsu for like over a decade. I started doing jujitsu the same year I met my wife, the same year I Am King, around when I Am King came out. So big one. And that's always been like really good for me, for my mental health, and just not my physical health because it's fucked me up. But just like that's a huge cornerstone of my life, and like definitely therapy shit. Definitely been doing that, and just trying to be better, realizing where you go wrong with shit and trying to be better. I've learned a lot more skills now that I didn't have. Like there was just a lot of things I didn't know how to do that I've had to learn how to do that I'm proud of being able to do. Shades helped me with a lot of that. So just building and hope, and knowing that you can do it and it can be done. And and having, for me, it's having my brother Shade with me is what gives me that confidence. I've always been a group person in a lot of ways at the end of the day. So maybe that's weak, but I need some people that I'm down to die for. That's really it, to just like keep going. And that's kind of what we've done.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a couple people like that. And I think it's important to remember that no matter how bad things are, there is going to be good times eventually. I've been through a lot of stuff in the past 5 years where I thought like everything sucks, nothing good will ever happen again. The bad guys won, the good guys get stepped on. There's no point in doing anything. But I don't think that way anymore because I've been through it all. And I know like, hey, if I stick to whatever it is I'm doing, I'm going to come out on the other side of it. And it sounds like you have too.
100%. And I've just been seeing the fruits of that. Like, yeah, we played this show in fucking St. Louis yesterday for this thing that was fucking better than any code show we played in St. Louis. And I'm like, yo, that's pretty cool. So it's like little wins and, piecing things together and still being able to be creative and not maybe, there's a lot of positive to it all, not being so tied down by a lot of things financially and structurally and of course personally, so feeling free, feeling like I can just create. And I just feel like when I can just create, like it's like I can't, only one who can stop me is me at that point.
What did you do? The new EP from Nowhere2Run just came out on your label, Nowhere Recordings. Is there like a central theme? Is there some of that dealing with stuff that you were talking about in this?
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like in a lot of ways it kind of starts something new, but also continues like thematically some of the ideas because they're fucking, they're related to my life. That where we left off, it's something more consolidated though. It's something a lot darker. It's something a lot more. It still has a lot of elements, but I think it's more. I don't want to say focused because I don't think that the band was unfocused at any point, but like it's kind of going down one path. And like I talk about movies and stuff, and I'm thinking about music, but also just like ideas. And I was just like I was in this. Almost felt like I was in this kind of like almost in like a noirish space of like confusion and trying to discover something about myself and understand things about things that had happened. and why I was feeling the way I was feeling. You know, where the above kind of ends, like if I see it visually, like the last song to me was this almost like this island of self. And I always imagine like the last little bit of the record, if it was like a film. You know, we actually planned on the album, the above was supposed to be like a film, very similar, not in the way it would have been executed, but in concept to like what Turnstile did a few years ago, but we couldn't find the money to do it. The label we signed to, who's a sick label, we're pretty much like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then when it came time to do it, they were like, actually, no, we're not. You're going to do 2 videos. So we were like, all right. But anyway, some of the sonic ideas, you know, were kind of meant to be accompanied by visuals, but almost like I saw that as like, it just zooms out from this world, from this island, you know, and disappears. And this almost starts just in the dark, you know, and it's kind of like, it's just like a flashlight and trying to find your way out, like fucking Silent Hill, you know? So that's kind of, yeah. I mean, I guess thematically, it's just about trying to figure yourself out.
I like that. By the way, I like the Silent Hill reference. I'm the aesthetic of Silent Hill is second to none. I've pulled from that for stuff I do too.
Oh yeah, that shit rocks.
Oh, I love some of the hip hop collaborations too. You did that collab with Sadistic and Cages on the one song, and that whole thing with Sadistic is just I love it.
That record's called The Vacants. It's a fucking killer record of Statistics that we produced the record and did the art and stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever do anything live with them? Would you?
Yeah, I would do a show with Sadistic for that record and like kind of do music and visuals for him. Yeah, and I think like in the Nowhere2Run stuff, I think like we wanted to incorporate hip hop elements as well. Like we have the song with Horror and Kamiyata, and then we have the song with Backwash and Sadistic and Earx. And I don't know, hip hop's always been really a big part of what I listen to and inspirational to me in many ways. And so, yeah, I guess the record musically, we were kind of like somewhere in between what we were doing with the blood raves and like this hip hop thing and a little bit of like what we were doing in the film scoring and, you know, some of our industrially heavier elements and kind of put those things together. So it's kind of like was the blueprint for the What Did You Do record.
Do you keep up with any modern heavy music? Do you listen to any of it?
Yeah, I definitely keep up with it. I definitely know who everybody is, I think. And, but heavy music is such like a broad term at this point. Like there's so many different types of things. So I guess it would depend like what specifically.
Do you listen to like any metallic hardcore type stuff? Now, all right, I like a lot of ambient, heavy shoegaze, any type of like crossover band like heavy shoegaze or heavy alt, or I love that kind of stuff. As far as like straight ahead metallic hardcore bands, I don't listen to a ton these days, but there are some that I love. How about for you?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of great bands coming out of hardcore. I definitely like the stuff that's coming out of hardcore a lot more than the stuff coming out of like, I guess you'd call it metalcore on like the like bigger like festival-y kind of side. Like I pretty much don't like any of that, but the stuff that's coming out of like hardcore, I still really like a lot of it. I mean, we have a venue here that's kind of like the prime spot for all that. So I see a lot of bands and I still, you know, I'm probably not putting it on a daily basis, but like probably putting on like more of the classics, but like there's a lot of good shit from hardcore always. The other side of it, I never liked it. So it's grown like bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, to me, it just makes me pretty much happy that I'm not there. That's really it.
Yeah. Well, What Did You Do? The EP is out now from Nowhere2Run. What's coming up? What else are you working on? Let everybody know what else is going on in the end here.
So, yeah, we actually have an EP coming out this Friday. It's called Blood Rave. It's basically, you know, we're gonna do like a series of Blood Rave records that kind of are the music we're playing more at these raves, which also intersects with some of our, I would call it more mainline artist music, but like, you know, it's oriented in that world. And we've been making a lot of cool music in that world. So we thought it'd be cool to kind of start a series and eventually make it almost like more of a compilation or like a collaborative projects that continue on with different artists who play the event. But we got the first one of those dropping and we have a bunch of Blood Rave events coming up. We have Columbus, Long Island, Toronto, New York City, Chicago, Florida is coming up. So working on a bunch more. And Well, yeah, working on a lot of music in the dark, producing wise. We have an artist who's like the prime artist that we kind of built the record label around on the BMG side. That's gonna gearing to have her record come out in a couple months, so we're excited about that and just helping pump that. She's really awesome, and yeah, just all sorts of shit. We did this movie that hopefully will see the light of day and at some point soon, and yeah.
Awesome. What's the movie that's out that you did?
So it's not out, but it's just playing festivals. It's a movie called Violence. It's kind of like a play on like a 80s punk sort of thing. Has like Repo Man vibes, a Warriors kind of vibe, but with like a more kind of a little bit of like a YA kind of vibe to it with the cast, and stars this kid Rowan Campbell who has been in a bunch of awesome movies. He was the lead in the last Halloween, and he was in the movie The Monkey, and he's been in a lot of awesome stuff. So bunch of awesome people in it. We did all the music, we scored it, we are in it. We play this fake punk band. We made like a fake punk 7-inch for that band that they perform like throughout the movie. And we actually ended up being part of editing the movie as well, which is a whole long fucking insane story. But so that's been really cool. We've been really worked on that for a long time, and I'm excited to see what happens with it. It's an indie movie, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen with it, but I'm proud of it.
That's awesome. Well, Jamie, this has been great. I've been listening to you for a long time, and it sounds like you're still up to a lot of great stuff. So I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time.
And there you have it. Jami Morgan. Excellent conversation. I like he just gives it to you like it is, tells it how it is. It was really interesting to hear about the whole history of Code Orange and his creative process, the band's creative process. You know, hearing about how he takes in things from different movies and different art and just pieces it together and puts it into the music, and how Jamie just spoke candidly about maybe how things didn't work out like he had hoped, or maybe people didn't pick up on them, or it was just a pretty honest conversation, and I like how he just laid it all out there for us. And I'm glad Jamie's doing okay. That conversation towards the end about everything that he had to do to deal with the end of Code Orange as they enter into their hiatus, everything he went through, everything he's doing now moving into Nowhere to Run. He seems happy, and I'm happy for him. And Nowhere to Run is just a cool project. They do some good collaborations with hip-hop artists. Make sure you check those out. They're definitely doing some interesting stuff. So great conversation, a great way to kick off 2026. So thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on the show. So let's check in. How are we doing? I'm doing okay. I've had off for the past week, I think. So I've just been buckled down, trying to finish writing the Memory Entry LP. We are working hard on it. We are getting ready to enter the studio. There's still a lot of work to do. So I bounce between, hey, I'm doing great, I've done enough, to I haven't done nearly enough and I'm not ready. Now I'm in a complete panic, to everything's okay, back to panic. It's just it's just going to be like this back and forth until the record is finally recorded. But I'm working on getting it done. There's more lyrics to write, there's more music to write, there's more things to patch up. I just want to get that done and get it recorded and have it be the best thing it can absolutely be. That is the focus right now. Oh, and we're playing shows. We have our biggest tour yet booked. 3 shows. January 17th at Cousin Danny's in West Philadelphia. January 18th at Wax Atlas in Baltimore. And January 19th at Gold Sounds in Brooklyn. I'm so happy that we managed to string 3 dates together. I tried to do it last year and did not succeed. But we did get 2 last year, so that's something. That was good for the EP release. But we did it. We strung 3 dates together, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get out there and play and drive and just hang out. It's going to be a great time. So come see us. Other than that, I'm just gearing up to head back to work, which I really don't want to do. I've had off for almost the past 2 weeks, working here and there, but I'm going right back into the hurricane. There's a lot to do, and I don't want to do it. But hey, what are you going to do? It's a new year. There's a lot of exciting things happening. Speaking of, tune in to our YouTube channel this Friday at 9 a.m. to see the pilot episode of the new scene on location. This is a new professionally shot on location show featuring myself and the great Nathaniel Shannon. We go to venues, we talk to bands, we interview bands. There'll be live footage of the set. You've seen those show recaps I do at the end of new scene episodes. Imagine those, but with bigger, better production, professional, longer. So this Friday, 9 a.m. on our YouTube channel, the pilot episode will premiere. So make sure you check it out. That's all I've got for this week. I'm back next week with a new episode and a new guest. And I'll see you then.